Today, we will talk about landlocked properties and easement solutions in real estate. Landlocked in the context of real estate refers to a piece of property that is inaccessible via public thoroughfare, except through an adjacent lot. A vacant lot that is located behind a strip mall and can only be reached by walking through the mall qualifies as this type of lot. Landlocked property is locked up, meaning it's surrounded by other property. Landlocked parcels are typically the result of subdivisions or the division of a larger parcel of land into smaller parcels, which are sold off individually. Ideally, the smaller parcels would each have access to a public right-of-way, but sometimes that's not possible. For example, a seller might wish to subdivide a large square parcel with a landscape feature in the center, such as a mountain, that's unsuitable for development. Rather than carving out a gerrymandered parcel that gives road access to the mountain, it might be left landlocked. Landlocked property typically has a lower value than the surrounding properties, due to its inaccessibility. However, that doesn't mean the landlocked real estate is worth nothing. In addition, because it has a lower value, it may be a better value in expensive neighborhoods for prospective buyers. This may allow these buyers access to a community that they would otherwise be priced out of. Obtaining a loan or mortgage for a landlocked property, however, can be difficult since banks may not finance a landlocked property. The lack of access to the property for public services, such as medical and fire personnel, can make banks and prospective buyers pass on dealing with a landlocked property. Access to a landlocked property or parcel can be challenging for the owner. However, state and federal laws protect the right of property owners to productive use of their land, which means, in general, the right to gain access to a public road. An easement, which grants the right to cross over neighboring land, is used to provide such access. There are various types of easements, some easier to acquire than others. But, savvy buyers who understand the rules can find good investments in landlocked property. If a neighbor balks at signing a friendly easement or asks for unreasonable compensation, it may be necessary to obtain an easement by necessity. An easement by necessity is a court order granting the landowner legally entitled access to their property. The catch is that the landlocked owner must prove through a deed and title search that both the landlocked property and the neighboring property were at one time owned by the same person. No, you cannot deny access to landlocked property. There are federal and state laws in place that allow access to landlocked property even though direct access is not possible. One of the best ways to allow access to landlocked property is through an easement or easement by necessity. There are many reasons why a person would want to invest in a landlocked property. Landlocked properties are lower in value, so they might be an entry point into an otherwise expensive neighborhood that would be out of the person's budget. If a landlocked property is next to a business or area of business that is likely to expand in the future, then holding onto a landlocked property and selling it in the future for a higher price when the business area expands is also another reason to purchase such property. Severance of unity is one of the items that the owner of a landlocked property must prove when trying to obtain an easement by necessity. It proves that the initial owner of the land subdivided the property and part of the division was transferred to the claimant. Here are 4 key takeaways. 1. Landlocked in the context of real estate refers to a piece of property that is inaccessible via public thoroughfare, except through an adjacent lot. 2. Landlocked property is locked up, meaning it's surrounded by other property, and only accessible through the property that surrounds it. 3. Landlocked parcels are typically the result of subdivisions or the division of a larger parcel of land into smaller parcels, which are sold off individually. 4. Owners of a landlocked property can obtain an easement, which grants the right to cross over neighboring land to access the public road. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.